Listen, no one is off the hook. No one. Not Europe, not the Arab world, and not the African elites who cooperated and sold their neighbors. If we're talking truth, we're going to talk the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help me, ancestors. This is justice for every living descendant of chattel slavery, of genocide, of Jim Crow, for all the bodies that still carry the scars. Europe, you're not off the hook. It was you who built the blueprint for modern chattel slavery. It was you who financed it, shipped it, reproduced it, mass exported it, industrialized it. Tens of millions involuntarily dragged across the Atlantic Ocean because the Europeans weaponized credit, cannons, and capitalism. It was merchant capitalism that fed African bodies into Brazil. And there was the Dahomey and Oyo who cooperated. But it was the European pulling ships across the ocean. It was Europe. Arabs, we know that you ran on brutal chattel slavery, predating the Europeans' participation. Zanzibar's clove plantation under the Omani rule, pure chattel slavery. Many of you still participating in the brutality today. African bodies working to the death to fuel your spice economy. Still graping, still unaliving, still plundering, still thieving, still castrating. The Arab and North African market fed off of the same brutality. Human bodies as labor, human bodies for military, and human bodies for concubines. And African elites, yes, you, the rulers and the merchants, the Aro Confederacy, supplied captives to the Europeans through the long Juju Oracle. Dahomey and Ashanti turned warfare into export. What was once conquering neighbors for war debts became a business. History shows exactly who those African tribes and actors were that participated and cooperated and at some point fought back. What we also know that it was the demands of the European coupled with firearms that reshaped African politics and economies, especially in Angola and the Bight of Benin. We also know that Europeans like to conflate indigenous forms of slavery with European form of slavery, which was drastically different. These Africans were brokers. Although Africa enslaved war captives, judicial slaves, and people that owed debt, it didn't compare to the European Atlantic trade and the Islamic slave trade. The coastal towns that played a key role, those families, those households, they were key interfaces with European capital. So yeah, no one's off the hook, but we do have to prioritize. The Europeans are in a league of their own. They globalized chattel slavery. They industrialized chattel slavery. They built churches of chattel slavery. And then doctored a pseudo-racial science to justify it. It was the Europeans that made race the justification for their slavery. Unlike the Arabs, unlike the Africans. However, their participation, unforgivable. But it was the Europeans that turned slavery into the model skeleton of capitalism. And true justice means accountability for every hand that played a part, for every link in the chains. True justice is reparations for the living descendants of the monstrosities, the atrocities, the gore, the horror, the genocidal act of chattel slavery, who are still suffering from the theft of your ancestors. Stop excusing. Stop deflecting. Because no one is off the hook. So cope. All of you.